27 WrestleManias down. This is WrestleMania 28. Will we finally reach 100%? We're nearing 30. Let's find out. And of course, a few facts before we begin. The event took place on April 1st of 2012 from the Sun Life Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Attendance was 78,363. 28 wrestlers participated at this event. Now again, I'm not counting dark matches or pre-show stuff. And off the bat here, it's going to be a no as far as accurate. You can recreate it. Both figures are exclusive to Mattel, though. Jax never made a Sheamus, nor Daniel Bryan. Of course, they didn't have the rights by the time those two kind of became into prominence. Jax was still making figures when Sheamus debuted, but by the time they were going to get around to making one, it would have been past their contract time, so they just let him go. Then on to the second match, Randy Orton versus Kane. Mattel, of course, as well as Jax, does have figures of these guys. However, you want authentic, you're going to have to go with this Series 12 Randy Orton, although I noticed there's a little bit of white in it. You can find a blue trunks Randy Orton. They're pretty common, especially early on. And then, of course, Kane, you're going to need the Series 90 Kane. And even then, it's not actually accurate. You actually could go with the Mattel, I want to say Elite. There's an earlier Elite that has a little bit more. You can see it's kind of shortened. So the reason I didn't have that picture is I just couldn't find a really good picture to pick that. So I do apologize for that. But that pretty much is the same exact attire. Then on to the third match, which is accurate. It's Big Show versus Cody Rhodes. This is Big Show's kind of WrestleMania moment. To commemorate that, they've got the exact attire he wore. Cody would be in a Series 20 since he didn't win the match. Of course, the knee pads won't be accurate, but the attire's there. It was for the Intercontinental Championship, which actually this wasn't even the right belt. By this point, he had already debuted the classic white-looking title. But I didn't really want to do white on white because it just doesn't look right. So only because it didn't look like there's a belt there. It just looked like a bunch of random plates. So. Then on to the fourth match, and unfortunately we have a match going to the void. Maria Nunez never had an action figure. I think she was like a local, not local, but a small-time celebrity. I think she was part of like the, oh, what do they call that? Paparazzi type stuff, like interview stars, that kind of stuff. This match wasn't anything for me. I know that I remember there was like a like a smudge on the back side of her attire. It was from somebody's mascara. I think it might have been Eve Perez's mascara, and it looked like she pooed herself. It looked like a giant skid mark. It was kind of funny. I remember people thinking, "Oh, she crapped herself at WrestleMania." No, it just turns out it was mascara or something like that. None of the females had the proper attire represented in figure form, so this match is a completely. Of course, you couldn't recreate it if you wanted to without Maria. Of course, we got Maria Kanellis, but that was only in Jax, and she was not part of this WrestleMania. The streak continues, and Mattel knocked this one out of the park. I mean, there's been a Jax Hell in the Cell, and it's massive. It's massively expensive nowadays as well. I did have this one, and it worked for, it was, I felt very sturdy, very strong put together. Of course, these are for basic figures. The Elites just don't work too well. I used to have the Jax Pacific real scale Hell in the Cell, and I remember one time I pulled it out and I had I think about like 50 wrestlers at the time, 50 Elites, and I did a gigantic Hell in the Cell elimination type Rumble match. That a couple of my friends playing video games kind of watched me. I was just I want to say it was after my third bout with cancer, and I was in the celebration mood, and I didn't care what people thought, and my friends didn't care. You know, they were cool. You know, they were happy to see me still alive. Different times, of course, but yeah, you knocked this one out of the park. You can get the Shawn Michaels. I had to find that Shawn at Target or at Toys R Us, and I do remember having to get him and a CM Punk figure. Spoilers. Um, Yeah, I think it was a CM Punk figure. Twice I had to go to Toys R Us, and some dude had bought up all the figures right then and there, and I had to work a deal with him outside the store to get the figure. Pay a little bit more than I wanted to, but at the time I just didn't do eBay very often. So, but the point is, you have the Undertaker, um, 20 and 0, and of course you have the Triple H. Which unfortunately this Triple H I don't think had an elite figure. I couldn't find a picture. I don't remember if it was really focused on that one. But you know, you had Undertaker. Of course, they would release this Undertaker with that jacket later on. This was kind of like a exclusive pay-per-view elite 20 and 0 kind of thing. But you would eventually get this attire in a different Taker. Then on to the sixth match, the 12-man tag match. Nothing screams, we have nothing for you, and we're just going to throw you all together. I mean, I forgot even Hornswoggle, as you see in the picture, I forgot to put his figure in here. Of course, it's not accurate whatsoever. You can see right there, Jack Swagger has some sort of like light blue colored singlet design. The best I could find was this one. That's not accurate. Drew, of course, he's wearing something with like green, and that Drew, this is before he came back. That's probably the closest. You might be able to find like the 2-pack, but even that is not in that style. John Laurinaitis is wearing opposite of what the figure we would get, which I don't count the manager, even though they're technically the team captains. They didn't wrestle; they were kind of representatives. David Otunga is accurate. I think Mark Henry was accurate. R-Truth looked very accurate right here. Zack Ryder looked close. This, of course, would be also the night that he got kicked in the balls and slapped by, I think it was Eve Torres, and she turned heel, which no one could care less about. Booker didn't have the proper attire. Dolph, I don't think, had the proper attire. The Miz did have the proper attire. In fact, he even came with the Team Johnny t-shirt. So that's kind of cool. Santino, and then Great Khali. If you own one Khali, you pretty much own all of them. He had 2 attires, black or red. So that was pretty much it. So yeah, it's not accurate. Of course, you can pick up all these figures. If you want the entire match to recreate without the accuracy, you're going to go with Mattel because Jackson never made Drew. They made Nikki, but not Dolph. They never made David Otunga. Of course, they didn't have the rights. This is now 2 years removed from them, I believe. And on to the 7th match, and Mattel knocking it out of the park here with the pay-per-view. I forget what the bottom part says. There basically it's like almost like a rewind. Like they just basically say, "Here's what Punk was wearing," and that was the attire he was wearing. It sucks he didn't like wear the silver attire that he would wear when he fought The Rock at the Royal Rumble, because that attire just screams so much cooler looking than this one. But he wore this, and Jericho would eventually get a elite. And there is a basic that represents this match as well, but he would get an elite later on that is from that time, best in the world on the back of the trunks. And it was a really cool. It comes with a belt, of course, and that's the championship they were fighting for at the time before it was changed over. And the main event, it was the once in a lifetime, as what did he put? Once in a lifetime. The Rock returns. Of course, you know, this wasn't his first match back in a year, because he had come back at Survivor Series, did a tag team match, and then he didn't fight Punk till almost a year later. But I think he did some stuff, and then basically just this build. It was Cena versus The Rock. And I do believe, yeah, I believe there was a Survivor Series match before this. It's from 2012. These are probably harder to find nowadays, especially with collectors, with it now being almost 10 years old figures. They did represent a certain time with The Rock with his goatee, which I don't know if he has goatee at this pay-per-view. I think he'd already shaved that off after the Survivor Series match because it didn't look right. It looked really old. But let's see how we did. So you could not recreate this event. You're missing Maria Nunez, and I know she's not really a wrestler, but she was booked to be a performer that night, so that match would have to exist. If it didn't, then if we didn't count that, then Snooki wouldn't have counted either. But we are close. We recreated 87%. Mattel with 27 figures, so you can start to notice now that Jax is losing its lead. It had a lot of dominant leads for the longest time, and now they're falling behind by about 5 figures here. And it's only 62% accurate, so even though we don't have everybody, we're still getting a lot of people, and that's pretty cool right there. And of course, as always, I want to thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe; it's free. You don't have to if you don't want to, of course. I'm told that people don't really notice anybody to have the 100 videos, and well, I'm working on it. I'm approaching the WrestleMania 29 and 30 editions pretty soon. 30 is going to be a little bit held up as, like I said, I ordered 5 custom figures for the customer figure appreciation to take place. Still haven't got any photos yet of them, as it takes time to make them. Especially the person who I've kind of showcased on this channel. He does really good work, and I'm wondering who I'm going to buy. I'm pretty much going to buy probably a new custom from him once a month, and the price tag's a little hefty, but I work and I make good money, so I'm going to have my own little collected roster basically. But check back soon for WrestleMania 29's a recreated edition, and then I think we only got 9 more remaining after that. Again, all images are used for accuracy only. I'll see you next time.